And we're going to spoil Sophie's Shenanigans national holiday a little bit earlier today. It is, if you can't tell by what we have here in front of us, it's National Angel Food Cake Day. Cheers! So we have that, and here to show us exactly how to make it is Will Ward. He is in our kitchen in studio today. Good morning, Will. How are you?
Good morning, Sophie. I'm doing well. So you might notice the excess of balloons. So this is what happens when the cake turns out very tasty, but at the same time was not quite camera ready, so I kind of had to punt and expand my explanation a little bit.
I love the presentation.
I love it too.
Half the battle with baking, right? It's all about the presentation.
Oh yeah. So we're not celebrating anybody's birthday, but I was going to talk about an angel food cake is very similar to a souffle in the fact that it's a giant foam made from egg whites. So you take the egg whites, start beating them, and the bigger bubbles eventually become smaller bubbles, making a foam. And yes, I did steal this from Alton Brown, but I was supposed to be a teacher at one point, and as any teacher will tell you, it's fine if you're stealing it for educational purposes.
That is, I'm learning a lot.
Yes, and I actually learned that the difference between angel food cake and pound cake is just the egg whites, right?
Correct. So
okay.
There are no egg yolks. We don't really know when this recipe was invented. It was sometime after 1836 when the crank hand beaters were invented, because that would make it possible for a home cook to make something as delicate. And again, it's very similar to a souffle, and if you watch any TV with like a character who cooks, or there's a cooking contest episode, there's inevitably a joke about the souffle deflating in the oven. It's the same for an angel food cake, but not because you make a loud noise. So as the cake is heating up, the bubbles get bigger and the air expands, but if you open the oven, the bubbles deflate.
Sorry. I love this.
This is amazing. I love this. Can I tell you though, I've actually never, I was telling Elizabeth, I don't think I've ever had an angel food cake. Is there something specific that you do? Obviously we know what goes into it, but like, is there a tip and trick that you use that makes yours special than the rest?
Well, I would definitely say use cream of tartar because it's an acid and it will help keep the foam together. And because you also read horror stories about like the foam falling apart, but this took me like 15 minutes to accomplish in my mixer. I also like to add toppings because this is a very neutral flavored cake, or you could use any flavored extract you like. I usually like to use strawberries, or if I'm feeling very decadent, a chocolate mousse.
Ooh, fancy. Yeah.
I like that.
And how long does this take to bake?
35 minutes at 350 degrees, and it will take about a dozen egg whites, which I used the carton stuff from the grocery store, but if you make a lot of custards, egg whites freeze really well in ice cube trays, and then you can just thaw them out and use them later.
And I have to ask, because obviously egg whites are in the mix, is there a possibility of you overcooking this and then it not being a great cake?
Potentially, yes. And there's just as big of a danger of undercooking it. That's actually slightly what happened. The top was almost looking too done. The cake is fully cooked all the way through. I checked the temperature, but the inside did not set as well as I had hoped it to. It will still taste fine. It just won't be that big, puffy cake you're expecting. So keep a very close eye on the temperature of your oven.
Is that the tip that you have? Is there like a specific, either something that you should put it in to specifically cook it a certain way, or just do you want to, should we check it every so often?
So I use a tube pan. That's usually the best way because it can climb. For the oven, I would stick a thermometer in there just to make sure it's not going above 375 degrees or below 325.
So Elizabeth is giving it the taste test. Is it good? Thumbs up? All right. Well, if you want to check out this recipe, you can head to our website. We'll clip this video after the show. That's WCTV.tv. Thank you so much for joining us, Will. We'll be right back.